This is BYU Sports Nation, presented by the BYU Store. Simulcast on BYU TV and BYU Radio. Now live from Studio B, your hosts, Jarom, Jordan, and Dave McCann.
What is up? BYU Sports Nation is live, your day-to-day BYU Sports play-by-play in Studio B, presented by the BYU Store, the official outfitter of BYU fans everywhere. It is Thursday, February 17th. Thanks for being here. I'm Jarom Jordan, teamed up with the man who operates very well while thousands of kids scream at him, Dave McCann.
It's Kids Day. That's partly why I'm here. I'm one of the kids. It's a primary chorister's nightmare over at the Marriott Center at the top of the hour right here on BYU TV. Kids Day with the women's basketball team. So we got thousands of kids between, third and fourth grade?
I've heard second to fifth in that range or something.
And they just make noise. Here's the calm before the storm as we look live inside the Marriott Center. That'll be, I don't know how many, it'll be at least 1,000, and they just make noise the whole time.
Yeah, this is before SpongeBob SquarePants is being screamed and Justin Bieber, and you better believe Don't Talk About Bruno is going to crush today. It's going to be awesome, man.
So welcome to our pregame show.
Yeah, essentially. Essentially. That's coming up at the top of the hour. BYU and LMU. And they've won how many games in a row? The women at home?
28.
28 is crazy.
School record's 33, which they won't be able to get until next season.
Next year.
If they can finish here, and then Gonzaga Saturday, and then that'll be it. But 28 in a row.
That's amazing. Yeah. What a special group. Okay, here's the show lineup today. Is it March Madness or bust for men's hoops? We're gonna polarize the question. Let's go. Plus, it's a ball day, as we mentioned, for the women's basketball team. Spencer Linton sat down with the four seniors to talk about this magical season and how they hope to finish. And Jason Shepard chats with baseball coach Mike Littlewood ahead of the season opener tomorrow in Port Charlotte, Florida. We sent Shep on that trip.
That's a tough assignment.
He deserves it.
Yeah.
Let's fire up some headlines.
BYU men's basketball 19-8 on the season. They're ranked 53rd in Jay Billis's latest team rankings. That's not great. That's 53rd. Gonzaga's number 1, St. Mary's and San Francisco are 32 and 38 respectively. BYU remains the last team in Joe Lunardi's latest bracketology. What a big game Saturday at St. Mary's.
We'll break it down coming up. Number 20 women's hoops, as mentioned, hosts LMU at the top of the hour right here on BYU TV. It's the penultimate home game with Gonzaga looming Saturday on Senior Day. Trap game, question mark. Cougars are a projected 5 seed in ESPN's latest bracketology.
Anytime snow falls here in Utah County, you know it's baseball and softball season. Softball team playing a doubleheader in the Stanford Invitational today. 6:30 Eastern time against the Cardinal. San Jose State's at 9 Eastern. This is a pretty good BYU team. They're 4-1 to start the season. Lost to UNLV. They won 4 straight.
Of course, you'd mentioned UNLV, Dave. You and I have both called games in the snow with BYU Baseball.
Yes, we have. It was
just crazy.
It was a freezing experience.
Yes, and I used to be outside for those. You got moved inside at some point.
Somebody came up with an idea. Why aren't we inside?
Yeah, exactly.
And then we got inside.
Yeah. Justin, Sue, and I are sitting out there freezing way back in the day. To the baseball diamond, as mentioned, the coaches picked BYU to finish in second in the West Coast Conference to Gonzaga with Cole Gamble and Andrew Pintar. In the preseason West Coast Conference team, the Cougars play Indiana State. Larry Bird, what's up? In the season opener tomorrow.
Ashley Hatch and the U.S. women's national team play their first match of the She Believes Cup against the Czech Republic. That's tonight at 11 Eastern. The She Believes Cup's a 4-team international tournament. The U.S., the Czech Republic, Iceland, and New Zealand are in it. We'll see if she can score another goal in the first 25 seconds of the match tonight.
That would be quite the accomplishment again. She did it against Australia a couple months ago. All rise and shout. It's time for What's Trending.
You're talking about it, and so are we. It's What's Trending on BYU Sports Nation.
What's Trending is presented by Tim Daly Nissan, serving Utah since 1968. Okay, no men's hoops games tonight. All prep is going into Saturday against St. Mary's in Moraga. Lately, it's been about offense for BYU Day, but when the Cougars beat St. Mary's at home, what feels like a million years ago, it was 52-43, absolutely defensive. So, how will the Cougars have to do it this time around? Is it offense or is it defense?
I think you have to go back to what worked before, which worked in the first 17 wins of the season, which was defense, which they haven't played lately. And that's, I think that's everything for them. They start with defense and rebounding, and then the offense comes. They played horrible defense the last couple of games out, and the offense had to bail them out, and it did. But when you're on the road, you know, Steve Fisher used to always say from San Diego State, defense, you pack your defense, it travels.
It travels.
And a lot of times your shot does not. But if you can defend, you're in the game with a chance. And that's what St. Mary's does at home. They take the air out of the ball. It becomes an ugly game, much like it was up here when BYU beat them 52-43. The Gales were just 4 of 23 from the three-point line, 29% overall. This is not a bad shooting team, but it was a bad shooting team that night. BYU didn't shoot great either, just 1 of 13 from 3. But those 19 forced turnovers were the difference in the Cougars' one of their biggest wins of the season. Now, if they can do that again at St. Mary's, they're going to miss 45. See that nice block? That was sweet.
They are going to miss.
If they can do that again against St. Mary's, it'll forgive them of a few sins. And it's really not about what are they going to take 4th or 5th or 3rd in the WCC. You beat St. Mary's, and you're back up in the polls that matter, which is the net and the others that project you into the tournament a little higher than just the last guy in.
Yep.
But if they don't play defense, St. Mary's probably not going to shoot 4 of 23 from 3 at home. So you got to play defense, or it could get ugly real fast.
100%. And we talked about this earlier in the week with Spencer Johnson. Here's what he had to say when I asked him, do you feel like you can snap back into that same kind of defensive team you were?
Yeah, we've been watching a ton of film. They got us in there, watching this clip, watching this guy. How did our defense look on this possession, What are we going to do here? And I mean, you guys watched that game. What did they go, like 12 minutes without scoring?
Yeah. It was a stupid amount. Yeah, it was crazy.
So, that's going to be really hard to repeat, but definitely doable.
That's the hope, is that BYU can become that team again, because the last 6 games, BYU has allowed 70-plus. BYU 6-7 when giving up 70-plus. And then when BYU gives up 76-plus, that's kind of been a weird number, 2-5. BYU was 0-5 until the last 2 games where it still won. Now, BYU's not playing LMU and Pepperdine this week. That's the bad news. The good news is BYU can watch that film and be like, okay, this worked that time. Perhaps it can work again. I do fear that without Foose, though, you're already down to your 3rd string, number 5 at that point, right? That will be a bigger challenge where BYU would have to overcome no Foose on defense with more offense. I think that perhaps there needs to be, 52 points worth of offense was enough to win by 9. I don't think that will be the case in this matchup. So BYU's got to play good D, but I think the discovery of the team that put up, 1.26 and 1.32 points per possession last 2 games, those were the top 2 D1 offensive rated games of the season. A semblance of that offensive group needs to show up in Moraga, because I don't think that without Foose, we're hoping Foose plays. If he doesn't, I don't think BYU can do what it did at home. It's just going to be hard to be like, hey, Atiki, can you do all that
Need
again?
you to be a senior.
Right?
Need you to be a senior.
It's going to be tough. So, obviously, it's a combination, but I think BYU's got to play way better offense.
Hey, St. Mary's went into Santa Clara last week and got beat, just like BYU did. They're very similar, these two teams, only they're taller. And rebounding and defense, I agree with you, is going to be the key on Saturday. All right, here's the next one. March Madness. Is it March Madness or bust for this basketball team?
Oh, it's a good question, because at one point this team was ranked 12th and like a 4 seed kind of type of team. So do we readjust expectations based on injuries and the reality? The program the last 2 years has made the tournament, or would have made the tournament. So the expectation from Mark Pope is that they make it. And given what happened early in the season, and BYU's been in the whole time until perhaps the end, maybe they're not. We hope they are. The NIT is probably a bust for this team. I think that the fan base needs to see an NCAA tournament. But given the injuries, Dave, it's hard to expect and call it a bust, given how well this team played without Richard Harward and Gavin Baxter, and perhaps Foose at the end a little bit here. Bust sounds like it was just worthless and garbage. Right. No, this team's good. It just wouldn't be up to probably the standard, but bust is probably too strong a word there.
Here's a thought. Look at all the great BYU teams, and then eliminate their front line. Do they get to the NCAA tournament? Does Danny Ainge get to the NCAA tournament if Greg Kite's out, Fred Roberts is out, and Steve Trumbo's out? Does Jimmer get to the big dance without Brandon Davies, Noah Hartsock, and
Logan Magnuson or somebody?
So I think reality is just sitting right there going, hey, look, this was an NCAA tournament team. It can be if it wins Saturday and finish strong. But if it's not, it makes perfect sense to understand what happened and why they're not, because of the front line of Harward, Baxter, and now Foose at a very critical time of the season to be out. And you can't get to the show without a front line. So, man, Saturday's huge. Hope they can play better than they are on Saturday.
Yes, which BYU was. We can now clearly see that BYU, to its credit, was overachieving without Gavin Baxter and Richard Harward. It was incredible what they were doing with two freshmen from a different continent, from a different religion, like all the off-the-court stuff that they were able to manage effectively and still have to some degree, right? And then Alex Barcelo cranked it up a notch on Saturday when BYU needed it, which was great. They got it done on the road in overtime against LMU. It's like, okay, but that version of that team isn't a tourney team.
No.
A tourney team doesn't go to LMU and Pepperdine and barely win, right? They go and dominate. Okay, which brings us to the resume update. Ned is the same at 53. Ken Palm's 53. These are not numbers of teams that make the tourney, by the way. BYU's hanging on by a thread, okay? BYU's got to climb into like the mid-40s here. If they beat St. Mary's on Saturday, perhaps they get a big booster. St. Mary's, by the way, recently 21 in net. This would be the best win of the year if BYU gets it. Team rankings, a 1.2% better chance. I don't know why. I don't even know if I care. Awesome, 19%. Still a 12 seed in bracketology. So huge game coming up Saturday. No game today, but you know what is today? San Francisco against St. Mary's.
Right.
San Francisco is up 23 against the Gales and lost. It's the second largest comeback in the WCC to BYU's comeback against Iona in the first four.
See, I wouldn't mind St. Mary's winning this tonight and getting worn out, because really all that matters is that BYU beats them on Saturday. Again, it's not about, hey, who's going to be second, who's going to be playing Saturday or Monday in the tournament as far as getting into the big dance. It's, maybe triple overtime, something where
awesome.
St. Mary's is worn out and then BYU comes in with fresh legs. It's a big break for BYU to not have anybody tonight.
Yep.
Because of Saturday, and Saturday's that big.
It's a huge game. Our question of the day, is it March Madness or bust for BYU men's basketball? You just heard what we said. What do you have to say in Voice of the Nation?
This is the Voice of the Nation on BYU Sports Nation.
Weigh in on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Sid Bowerbank on IG. It's always March Madness or bust. With that being said, we had so many injuries this year. It's understandable that we've been struggling. It happens. We'll be back. Now, remember, BYU next year will lose Barcelo and Lucas. That guard line is going to be tough to replace.
We'll be shopping the portal.
Yeah, again. Let's go. So this team is, this team's was good enough. Hopefully they can figure it out here at the end of the year.
All right, coming up, in the spirit of the Blondie Classic, Call Me, we ask, will Yoli Childs be getting the call up to the NBA this season?
He's crushing it, man. And the four seniors on the women's hoops team chat with Spencer Linton about the final week at home, making a run in the NCAA tournament, and much more. That's coming up. This is BYU Sports Nation as they get ready for LMU at the top of the hour.
This portion of BYU Sports Nation is presented by the Tim Daly Auto Group, serving Utah since 1968.
If I got hurt and was laid up at home, I wouldn't even think to call a lawyer. What a hassle. I'd want to meet them first.
What if I told you that for your first consultation, your lawyer will come to you, home or hospital?
Really?
Really.
They do that?
If you've been seriously injured, we'll come to you. It's your job to get better. It's our job to deal with the insurance companies and protect your legal rights.
Learn more at siegfriedandjensen.com.
Wrapping up in a Minky Couture luxurious blanket. Getting cozy with family and friends. A gift for everyone. Minky Couture, official luxury blanket of BYU Athletics.
I know what it's like to be overlooked, to be doubted, to fly under the radar. I only had one offer coming out of high school, but I was ready for every moment, every opportunity, and every shot that I got. Now I'm playing professional basketball. aiming to be one of the best shooters on the planet. And I'm just getting started. Be ready for your moment with Rapid Reboot, the future of rapid recovery.
How would you like to go to class? On a boat? In a rainforest? At the biggest school in the world? 6 students who go to 6 very different schools will share what it means to learn. Watch Planet School, a 3-part series on BYU TV or the free app.
BYU Sports Nation is presented by the BYU Store, official outfitter of BYU fans everywhere.
Paisley Harding right there. It's the biggest show in town. The 20th ranked women's basketball team taking on LMU, top of the hour, live on BYU TV and the BYU TV app. Cougars have been ranked since November 29th, longest stretch in team history. As mentioned, they've won 28 straight games at the Marriott Center, closing in on the all-time record of 33. It's coming up here, and they are fun to watch. I think this is the best team, the best women's basketball team I've ever seen at BYU, and maybe the best that Juddy's had in his 21 seasons.
They have to validate it with at least a Sweet 16 to be in the conversation with the 2 other teams that have done that. Welcome back to Studio B. Jarom Jordan alongside Dave McCann. At 21-2 and ranked 20th in the country, Jeff Judkins is dealing with one of his best teams of all time. It's a team that has benefited from an insurgence of skill and experience with COVID seniors. In fact, here they are with Spencer Linton.
It is my distinct pleasure to welcome in not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 BYU women's basketball seniors to recap what has been just an unbelievable career for all of them, and specifically an unforgettable 2021-2022 season that is not over yet, because there are more good things to come. With that said, we welcome Paisley Harding, Sara Hamson, Maria Albiero, and Tegan Graham. Great to have you with us in Studio C. Let's start with the hard question, which is trying to get you to sum up how you're feeling right now, the emotions of playing in the Marriott Center for the final week. Tegan, we'll start on the end with you. How are you feeling right now as this comes to a close, at least in Provo?
I would just say a lot of gratitude. I'm so lucky to play with these amazing women every day. And so obviously it's going to be an emotional day, but I feel very grateful.
Maria, how would you sum up your emotions?
Just really all over the place. It's been a really long process, and these people have become my family. I've had an incredible journey, so just sad, but still excited for the future.
Sara, when I say senior day, what comes to mind?
Tears and emotion, and just the end of an era. Like, we've been here for so long. It's like unreal to me still, and I just can't even imagine life without this team.
And Paisley, last but not least, what are your emotions like right now?
I feel like I'm kind of going to be looking in next year, which is weird for me. I think it's going to be weird for all of us, just leaving the team and leaving such a great group of girls. So I'm feeling definitely emotional.
I know that the buzzword for the last 2 years has been COVID, or COVID-19, but it did grant all of you an opportunity to come back and play another year. You didn't have to take that opportunity, yet all of you did. Why did you opt to come back for another year? Paisley, we'll have you answer first.
I came back for the girls. I really did, because I have enjoyed getting to know every single one of them, not even just these seniors, but all the underclassmen as well. And it's just a special experience, I think. I was sitting on the baseline, like, watching my team before practice, and people are just laughing, dancing, shooting, and I just kind of had a weird moment where I was like, wow, I won't get this often in my future, just with the interactions I have, because I don't know, being on a team is so special.
I'm not going to lie, I'm going to miss the TikTok videos, especially the genuine reaction when you were shocked to make the NCAA tournament. That's still one of my favorite memories all time of covering BYU Sports.
Was
awesome. Just the overjoyed feeling of that. That was fantastic. Okay, Sara, why come back for another year? other than wanting to break all of your siblings and your mom's records?
Right, I did have an advantage there with the extra year. But no, like Paisley said, I think it's a credit to the team and how unique and special our bond is. Yeah. Like, we've all grown so much together as the whole team. And just like, why wouldn't I want to spend another year with these girls? I love them so much, like every single one of them.
Yeah, we saw that love when you were mobbed after you won at Gonzaga. That was fantastic. Another great social media viral moment. Yeah. Maria, I know you have deep love for Brazil, but Provo's close, right?
The same, too. Same culture, same everything.
Same beaches, same sunshine, warmth.
Yeah.
Okay, not so much.
Yeah.
But you had a chance to go home if you wanted to. You decided to stay.
Yeah, well, like I said before, this has become a second home, a family. And just I feel like last year we got a little taste of what it could look like, and it didn't really look exactly how we wanted. So given the chance to come back, to me it was a no-brainer. Come back, good school, we'll study a little more, do whatever, and be around these people. So to me, a no-brainer. Like, I love playing basketball. I love coming to practice. We wanted to do better this year.
That's special. You like practicing.
I love it, yeah. I love being with these people. And I'd say everybody, yeah.
That's
for sure.
fantastic. Well, I can speak collectively for all BYU fans. Thank you for all coming back. Tegan, I can't imagine what life would be like without number 10 going for 10 three-pointers in a single game. Like, if you decided not to come back, we're not talking about that. You're not here. So why one more year for you?
I think, I mean, they've all said it. It's something really, really unique and special that it's kind of a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to be on a college team that you really love and you really enjoy. And like Maria just said, you know, it is really special to want to go to practice every day and want to be around the same people and want to compete and, you know, the blood, the sweat, the tears, everything. It's just such a unique, incredible experience that why would you not want more of that, right?
Why was BYU the place for you? We'll start in the middle. Sara, why was BYU the place for you?
It just really aligned with like my sense of morals and my principles. And I had been around the team all growing up, and I knew what the culture was like on the teams. And I love it here. I just love the vibe of BYU. And my family, of course, went here, and they're close by. So that's always nice to see them at every home game, and for my senior year, every away game. And it was just something I dreamed about growing up. And then when I realized there were more options, they weren't the right options. So.
Well, listen, the Hamsons are all really smart. You needed to be challenged intellectually, right?
I for sure did.
Okay, so aside from you challenging yourself intellectually, Paisley.
Oh, no.
It's a good laugh. No, the mic comes off. Don't even worry about that.
Whatever.
Don't even worry about that. This has been a good interview, okay? Why else did you feel like you needed to come to BYU?
The first time I came on campus, I just felt it. I don't know what I felt, but I felt it. And I just knew I was supposed to be here. Also, they kind of tricked me. I thought it was going to be warm, like year-round, but that's not the case, actually. I only came in the summer.
Someone told
me. It was Ray.
Yeah.
I swear it was Ray.
For sure.
I was like, yeah, I want to go somewhere warm. He's like, yeah, that's BYU, that's Provo. Yeah, okay.
And then under his breath, from like April until October.
But I don't know. It was a great fit. My parents really wanted me to come here as well. They both are alma maters. So.
Yeah, fantastic. They're part of a huge, thriving alma mater fan base. And I know your mom and dad are super fans, right? Yeah. That's awesome. I love seeing them riling up the crowd at home games. Yeah. I'm going to miss that.
Yeah, Steph on the chair.
Not going to lie. Okay, so for our two international seniors here, why BYU? Clearly you had other opportunities. Why BYU?
Yeah. I didn't necessarily know this was the right place for me initially. I know it is now for sure. I think a couple different things. I was here, finished high school in North Carolina, lived with an LDS host family, so was introduced to the idea of it. Obviously still came here, was around people. Kind of like Tegan, I kind of like school too, so school is good. Sara likes school too, Paisley like school too. Learned to like school.
I like
learned to like school. So I don't know. I think everything, it just fit well. Good basketball. I wasn't East Coast. Don't think there was a place for me there necessarily. So just came here, talked to the coaches. I don't know, and really adjusted by the years, and have made it a good place. Yeah.
Tegan, you didn't start here. BYU wasn't the initial choice for you, but it became the eventual choice. Why?
BYU is actually, I don't know if I have like a direct sort of like it was this moment, but it was almost a long shot because of COVID and how the whole thing worked when I left my old school. I just really wanted to have a good experience with basketball, which I didn't at my previous school. So I wanted to go somewhere fun, and I kind of just like, it really was a shot in the dark almost. And it was sort of like, I really liked, the girls seem awesome, the team culture seems fun. And then I got here and I was just like, thank you, thank you, thank you. You know, everything just lined up perfectly for me. So I think BYU was, as everyone would say here, a blessing, because I didn't really expect to come here and didn't know really anything about it and its legacy. And I've had an incredible time here, so.
You've all already accomplished so much, and you're pacing for something special this season. I know the dreams are big. It's almost scary to talk about how big those dreams are, but you don't seem to be afraid of those. So how would you explain to somebody what the common goal is of this BYU women's basketball team? Paisley, we'll start with you. What's the goal for BYU women's basketball right now?
Right now, it's to win conference. Right now, that's our goal, and that's like in our hands right now. It's our thing to lose at this point. So that's what our goal right now is.
Okay, well, and it's safe to say that winning conference will put you in a grand position for the eventual NCAA tournament. But as a senior playing the NCAA tournament, there's some natural pressure and excitement associated with that. So when I bring up the tournament, I know first things first, but when I bring up the tournament, because it's going to happen. Like, that will happen. You've done enough, it's going to happen.
It better happen.
Can I guarantee that? I'm guaranteeing.
I hope.
I'll shave my head, okay, well, hire is left on the top of it if you don't make the NCAA tournament, okay? That's how sure I am.
With everybody.
Sarah, when I say NCAA tournament, what goes through your mind?
Excitement. I love the tournament so much. It brings like a different kind of energy and atmosphere to the team. It's so fun, and it's just a very different vibe from the rest of the season. Just they treat you so like special, and like we are special. We earn that. We win all these games so that we can get there. And to get this point, we work hard every day. And it's just an awesome experience, very unique, and I just really enjoy it.
March Madness, Maria.
Yeah.
Went to the second round last year, pushed Arizona, an eventual national runner-up, to the limit.
Yeah.
But you said it kind of left something, like there was more there. What else is there?
Yeah, I think it's another chance for us to go a little bit farther. Like the 2 times we've been, we won the first game. I feel like that kind of happens with BYU. Seems like we're always the underdog, and we prepare. We're a disciplined team, and we win. I just think we just want to go farther and just make it worth it.
Tegan?
Yeah, I feel like what these guys are saying, we almost have an underdog mentality, even if we're ranked, even if we're picked first, whatever. We kind of, there's this vibe on our team. We love to compete, and we want to win more than anything. So there's almost this chip on our shoulder to prove ourselves always, game in, game out. So like Paisley said, I think our focus and our mentality really is like step by step. Like we win tomorrow, we win the next game, we win, so forth. So it's more just figuring out, how we get that mentality to just keep going and just keep getting better and better and better.
Hey, I'm not going to doubt a team that was down 15 against Gonzaga and then won by 12, okay? In the kennel.
In the kennel.
That's tough to do. As we wrap up, I have to ask, what's your favorite Juddyism?
You always do this. Every time we talk to you, you bring it up.
Tegan, shoot the ball! What's your favorite Juddyism?
These guys have way
who wants
more
to
than
start?
Ooh. I can go first.
Sarah, you
Sarah's
go
like,
first.
I volunteer as tribute.
So we're in the Marriott Center, right, for practice a lot of times, and they have all like the stands. And he's like, if I told you to run up to that stair, are you gonna hop over every single bench in the stands? Or are you gonna use the stairs? Like, you gotta pick the easier route. And then just somehow talks about it for a whole 10 minutes.
He does that. He really does.
I don't know how.
Okay, Maria, would you like to go next?
I mean, my favorite thing really is imitating him, just how he like walks around. So I'll do that. No, I'm not going to. That's my favorite thing. I'll do that every now and then.
His strut.
Just a little strut. I mean, the man played for years, so it's understandable. He's still over there doing his push-ups.
Yeah. Yep.
I think the cake one is really funny. He's like, Maria. You're gonna go to the grocery store and buy all these ingredients, and you're just not gonna bake the cake. And everybody's waiting for the second point. We're just like. Yep.
Bake the cake,
yeah,
Maria.
Talking about like you make a really cool move and he didn't make the basket, so.
Yeah, I get it. Okay. All right, Paisley?
Well, there's too many, but I think right now what my favorite is he'll just come and like just smack us on the shoulder like really, really hard for no reason. But he's just happy to be with us. So I think he's a nice little smack.
He really is. Like, he is having so much fun right
now.
Yeah. The joy is real for Jeff Judkins.
It should be.
I love it. Okay, Tegan, your ode to Jeff Judkins.
I don't even know. There's so many. He just, I think one of my favorite things he does is he says flustrated instead of frustrated. And it brings me joy. It just brings me this immense joy whenever he says it. And we love Jetty. He has all his quirks, but he's good fun every day.
It's a combination of flustered and frustrated.
And, and sometimes it is exactly that word.
That emotion.
It is that. It should be a word, really. We should make it a word just for him.
I'm sure you were frustrated when you were down 15 at Gonzaga.
Yeah, right? And so was he. He was very frustrated.
Hey, it's great to have you here. Congratulations to all of you on fantastic careers and for taking some time with us in your busy schedules.
Of course. Thanks for having us.
Happy to be here.
Okay, the 4 seniors, ladies and gentlemen, getting it done for BYU women's basketball.
Absolutely, and it's coming up at the top of the hour, LMU and BYU. There you see Paisley Harding. Listen, that eye, like 12 days ago was all, big old, cut and stitching. It looks
tough.
pretty good, man.
Harding, number 6 all-time in scoring at BYU, 1,813 points. There's
Maria Albiero.
Albiero, assist leader. There's the leading three-point shooter. Tegan Graham has been the leading three-point shooter in the league for most of the season.
Every single one of those shots went in.
Yeah.
We didn't see him, but you could tell by her
and
body
there's
language.
the number 2 shot blocker in the history of the school, right behind her mom and ahead of her sister with Sara Hamson. At 6'7", coming off the bench, she's a game changer.
Yep.
With that lineup, she can start or she comes off the bench. But if she comes off the bench, other teams all of a sudden they have to adjust everything about their inside game. We're going to get their shot swatted, and this is the makeup of a team that can go a long ways in the tournament.
It's special with those 4 seniors, and we focused on the seniors. We didn't even show the best player on the team,
right?
Shayla Gonzalez. But it's senior time because it's senior week. So BYU and LMU coming up at the top of the hour. Stay with us. It's going to be a fun one against LMU.
Straight ahead, it's time for those inspiring words. Play ball. Mike Littlewood, baseball coach, sitting down with Jason Shepard just 2 days ahead of the season opener.
Yeah, let's go. And can Shayla Gonzalez become the all-time leading scorer by the end of her career? And who is the best sports movie villain? There's Shayla. BYU and LMU coming up in about half an hour.
She had 19 against the Lions earlier on January 15th. Looking for another big day on BYU TV.
Trio Orem Senior Living believes in empowering seniors to live life to the fullest. We help eliminate stress out of daily life when you live at Trio. Less time focusing on housework means you can socialize at one of our many events, with safety in mind, of course. And did we mention our spacious apartments with modern amenities? Learn more about setting up a private tour at trioorem.com.
Familiar with the BYU TV app? Yes.
I beg your pardon?
Sure, it's got great original TV shows. But it also gives you access to family films for free.
Wow. Awesome!
So gather around, grab some popcorn, and let us do the rest.
It'll be fun.
Watch some of your favorite films anytime, anywhere. With the free BYU TV app.
I like it.
BYU Sports Nation is brought to you by Maersk, enabling global trade for a growing world.
Tomorrow night, the 19th ranked gymnastics team in action against number 23 Southern Utah at the Smith Fieldhouse at 9 Eastern. You can see the excellent coverage on BYU TV. Just about every sport on campus is nationally ranked. Come on, men's basketball, let's get it back.
Get it together. Do you know SUU's nickname? And this is legit, I'm not kidding.
Well, for the gymnastics team?
Yeah, yes.
No, I know they're
Flippin' Birds. That's a real thing.
They're the Flippin' Birds.
The Flippin' Bird. I'm not kidding.
All right.
It's tremendous, right?
It sends the mind in a variety of avenues.
Yes, it does. And that's the only time we can mention that right here on BYU
The
TV.
Flippin' Birds?
The Flippin' Birds.
Okay.
Yep. It
live
is
on BYU
We're not
TV.
going to demonstrate that. They will do that Friday night on BYU TV. He is Dave. I am Jarom. This is BYU Sports Nation. Don't forget to follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok. Let's whip it. Cougar Whip Around is presented by Maersk, your integrated container logistics company, enabling global trade for a growing world.
Okay, here we go. San Francisco plays St. Mary's tonight. Who will BYU be rooting for and why?
I would think you want St. Mary's because it'll help Saturday be even bigger. Also, I kind of want St. Mary's just to be the 2 because I want some outside crazy shot. The BYU gets a 3. So you're off of Gonzaga's side of the bracket. Then you'd get another quad 1 semifinal opportunity to boost the resume. That's my hope and prayer.
Both hope and prayer?
Yeah, H and P.
Saturday night. It'll be fun.
Who are you?
I think I want St. Mary's to win in a long, exhaustive, drawn-out.
Another triple OT.
Like 4 or 5 overtimes. So
well, now it's 4 or 5.
They're a little tired.
Yeah, you're getting a little greedy there.
We need them a little tired.
Yoli Childs has 20-plus in 4 of the last 5 and 4 double-doubles while shooting about 50% in all 5. He is killing it. Will Yoli Childs get an NBA call at some point? We continue to ask this question, and he continues to give us great performance.
You know what Yo does? He just gets better and better. When he showed up on campus, he got better and better. His senior year, he was at the peak of his collegiate game. And now as a professional, we're seeing him get better and better. Even in the last month, every game, he's getting better and better. That's the kind of guy you want on your team. There's a lot of guys in the NBA that can't shoot jack. Get Yoli. Pay him some. Let him play. Let him help your team. And then hopefully he can stay there. And you know what? Call Elijah Bryant back, too.
Yes, bring him all in. Yoli is performing at such high level that I would be surprised if he does not by the end of the year. Yeah. He's playing too well not to at least get a 10-day at some point.
I think you're right. And I think he should.
Yeah. Okay, Shayla Gonzalez, 2 points away from moving up to 11th all-time on the BYU Women's Hoops scoring list. Does she have a shot to become the all-time leading scorer here?
Think about it. She's got 1,436 points. Tina Gunn's record, 2,759. She did that in 101 games. She averaged 31 a game her senior year.
Only 101 games?
101 games.
Are you kidding me?
Shayla's going to play another season longer, with COVID.
Yes, 5 years.
And I talked to Jeff Judkins about that, and he believes she's on pace that if she stays the next 2 years, which she intends to, she'll break Tina Gunn's record before she's done, which will be amazing. And I asked Danny Ainge, I go, does it really count? I mean, she got a whole extra season. And should there be an asterisk next to it if she does? He goes, no. He goes, records are meant to be broken. It's fun for the fans.
Yeah.
He didn't have a 3-point line or a shot clock.
Or 35 games a year.
Yeah. And he watched Jimmer and Tyler passing by. He said, you know what? It was awesome for the fans. That's why we have records. Tina Gunn feels the same way. She's on her way. Let's see how many points she scores today.
If she has about 70 games left in her career, she needs about 19 a game. So she's got to crank it up 2 more points per game, then she has a shot.
I think she'll get there.
Yeah.
Ashley Hatch of the U.S. Women's National Team playing the Czech Republic today. Do you expect her to score a goal?
I expect her to score a goal every game. I don't care what game she's playing. Soccer in particular, but Ashley's that good. She can score in any game. So, yes.
Right, yeah. And it's fun to see him representing USA.
Absolutely. Okay, BYU Baseball picked to finish second in the West Coast Conference this year. What are your expectations for the Batcats?
We're going to have a lot of games on BYU TV and BYU Radio, and Mike Littlewood's pretty optimistic. He's got a lot of young guys, some good arms. I think they'll challenge Gonzaga for the title. And then they got 1 more year, and then it's Big 12 baseball. That's going to a whole nother planet.
Second in the regular season would be great. Just be top 4, get into the tournament, which I assume is back on this year. It wasn't last year. And then anything can happen in that tournament. BYU's come back down after losing the first game in a double elimination, right? Okay, and last but not least, SportsCenter posted about Happy Gilmore turning 26 today, the movie. Asks, which sports movie villain would give Shooter McGavin a run for his money? Who you got, Dan?
Mr. T would knock him out cold.
Clubber Lang?
I think Clubber Lang was perfect for that role in the Rocky series. And I remember watching that. I remember not liking him. And then I was sad when he kicked Rocky's rear end, and then I was glad when Rocky came back. Just like the movie writer was hoping to take us on that journey. I thought of the list in sports movies, Clubber Lang is my number one.
Ivan Drago is pretty tough, right? In Rocky IV there.
He didn't have a lot of lines, but it was pretty
I will break you. White Goodman from Dodgeball was a pretty big foe as well, and pretty funny.
Yeah.
But Shooter McGavin, man. Shooter! Yeah, love that.
Coming up, our rise and shout-outs on this Thursday.
And we preview the baseball season coming up with Mike Littlewood. Jason Shepard sits down to talk with him. This is BYU Sports Nation. Ahead of women's hoops coming up at the top of the hour.
Hi, Spencer Linton here, letting you know when your company joins the BYU team as a corporate partner, your brand can be featured in sports programming on BYU TV and BYU Radio. In addition to all of the great games, you can be part of the BYU coaches shows, place your message in Countdown to Kickoff, basketball pre- and post-game shows, and each weekday on BYU Sports Nation. We invite your team to join ours and become a corporate sponsor of BYU Athletics. For details, email sponsorship@byu.edu today.
Introducing the all-new 2021 Nissan Rogue. A fuel-efficient car that's compact enough to park just about anywhere, but has enough cargo space to fit your hobbies, your kids' hobbies, and your dog's hobbies. It's equipped with the latest safety and efficiency technology for a smooth and quiet ride wherever you want to go, whether it's through the neighborhood or across the country. Are you ready to Rogue? It's at Tim Daly Nissan Southtown.
Welcome to a partnership where customer experience comes first. It's our focus. It's your expectation. We provide support to those that go the extra mile for all of us. Supplying products, training, and service for generations. Learn more at bradyindustries.com.
The race is on. Go! 4 teams powered by faith and driven to find family, with only their teammate, paper maps, and inspiration to guide them.
Where are you?
The contestants race for the ultimate prize.
I am one step closer to knowing who my father is.
The chance to meet their blood relatives and discover more about who they are. Relative Race, driving families together. Watch Season 9 on BYU TV or on the free app.
BYU Sports Nation is presented by the BYU Store, official outfitter of BYU fans everywhere.
Alex Barcelo knocking down 2 more right there in slow motion. It'll be all high speed Saturday night. BYU and St. Mary's. Cougar pregame live on BYU Radio at 9 o'clock Eastern time. ESPN has the game for the rest of the world to see. It's a big one Saturday night.
Welcome back. BYU Baseball expected to have another good season this year, led by Mike Littlewood. For a season preview, here's Jason Shepard.
Joining me now, the head baseball coach of the BYU Cougars. He is Mike Littlewood. And, Coach, after a long offseason, the season is here. How excited are you for the 2022 season to finally be here?
Oh, man, I can't tell you how excited I am, especially to have just the team we have, a much more mature team, basically the same team we've had the last couple of years, with some experience under their belt and some great additions to the team. So we're ready to get going.
Yeah, and what are your overall thoughts? I mean, because obviously the guys have been practicing and for the last, couple of weeks, had the off season, the fall season. So this team has been able to get together and see what you can do. What have been your overall impressions early on?
Well, yeah, I mean, we've been out practicing basically like our spring training from September 7th or whatever, first day of school. We've been ready to go. I think overall it's just a much more mature team. We're going to have a strong pitching staff, the deepest staff we've ever had. I think we're 12 pitchers deep that can actually go in games and help us get outs. But on the position player side, I'm really excited just because they've grown up. They're much more able to put together good at-bats. They'll compete a little bit better. They have an understanding of what the game's all about instead of just kind of going up there, hope I can hit the ball. And so
that's just the maturity level and how we're going about things and our comfort level. And it kind of showed when we played Utah. We're always comfortable when we scrimmage. So we want to take that scrimmage attitude and that comfort level out to really real games. And I think the 2 scrimmages we had at Utah showed those. We played at a really nice comfort level, confident, and hopefully we can continue that at Indiana State this week.
Well, and you mentioned a lot of guys returning, but you also have some very impressive newcomers. And you already talked about the pitching staff as a whole. I think that's probably most evident there because, you do have guys that were in the starting rotation last year, but a lot of guys coming in that are part of those 17 newcomers that will see time in the rotation. What are your thoughts on the starting rotation heading into this weekend?
Well, yeah, we'll start Jack Sterner. He's been our starter last year, our number 1 starter last year. Kind of a power fastball, works downhill, good down and in run and good slider, really developing his secondary pitches. Nate Daly will go our second game, which will be game 1 against Marshall. Transfer from CSI, big, strong kid, should be in the low to mid-90s with great control. And then you talk about newcomers, Jansen Kiesel from Gunnison High School will be our 3rd starter, which would be game 3 or game 2 against Marshall on that doubleheader. But Jansen can run it up there to the mid-90s, and just really, I'm looking forward to seeing him develop over the course of his 3 years here, and I'm sure he's going to be a high draft pick when he leaves, but he's got just a lightning arm. And then game 4, we'll go with Ryan Brady. That's going to be Ohio State on Monday, and so I feel really good about that. We have Bryce Robinson, who's he was a starter last year, but had a little bit of an elbow issue, so we kind of kept him out this fall. He's right there, we can piggyback him as a starter. He can come in the second inning and finish a game for us, and I really like the ability to use him as a hybrid, kind of a starter, reliever type guy.
Well, and with Bryce and, Reed McLaughlin, the bullpen is stacked for you. You have so many options in the pen.
Yeah, I mean, Cy Nielsen from the left side and Boston Mabius and Cy, Cooper McKeon from the left side, right side Carter Smith and Reed McLaughlin, who have experience. All those guys have experience. I think we're really going to be excited about a left-hander from Bingham High School, Justice Reiser, true freshman, throws 4 pitches for strikes, really competes. His first outing at Utah up there came in and struck out the side, and just you would never know if he's thrown 3 balls in a row or struck out the side. He's just got the same demeanor, very athletic, feels his position, got a great pickoff move, just kind of does it all for us.
Let's talk about the position players, and there's a lot of very familiar names, whether it's Pintar at second, Watkins at short, Mitch McIntyre, Cole Gamble, lots of guys that game in and game out each can be the guy.
Well, it's fun to see the same team. One thing about BYU baseball and really other sports here at BYU is we have trouble having continuity because of missions and, guys getting married and they decide not to play, so then you have to bring another guy in. So you can have an 18-year-old or a 26-year-old and anything in between. But this year we have some continuity. We've had the same guys for 2 or 3 years in a row now. And so, yeah, those names you mentioned, and you include Josh Cowden, you include Hayden Latham and Ryan Sapedi, who's swinging it really well, Jacob Rogers and Austin Deming, just going down the line. I mean, it's really exciting for us. We do have 3 new guys at the catching spot. Colin Reuter, a freshman. I know you want to touch on him a little bit, but Mason Strong, a freshman. Right now, Mason's hurt. He won't go on the first trip. Chase Peterson and then J.D. Gardner. So we're 4 deep at the catching spot, but Colin's really stepped up for us.
Yeah, let's go there. This is a freshman catcher from Mississippi, and this guy is special. D1 Baseball has him as the WCC Freshman of the Year. We all know how important the catcher position is for a lot of different reasons. What type of impact do you think he can make his freshman year?
Well, I think just that. I think he's clearly going to be an all-conference type player. If you're around him a little bit, he's got a certain calmness. He knows how to handle the pitching staff. Big, strong kid. I mean, I think it was Friday. He got a fastball inside and just kind of pulled his hands in, got jammed a little bit, and hit it up into the trees in left field. But he just kind of he's got an old soul. I guess that would be the best way to put it. He never gets rushed, never gets his motor going too quick, and he's just one of those guys. We're going to hit him 4th in the lineup behind Cole Gamble, and I think he's going to be just an impact guy for us this year.
Let's go to maybe your biggest concern, or maybe even a better word, your biggest unknown right now heading into the season is what?
I would say third base. I mean, we need a guy. We have those those guys, Austin Deming and Jacob Rogers, and freshman Ozzie Pratt's been playing over there a little bit. Brock Watkins plays a great third base. And our plan a little bit was to move Pintar to short and Brock over to third just to try that. Andrew Pintar's arm's not quite coming back to play short. I think it will eventually. So we're going to play him at second to start off with. And great player. I mean, I would assume Penny's going to be gone after this year with a draft, but having a great year. But I would say that's probably the biggest concern for me. We do have guys, though. It's just going to be who can go in there and swing it and play good defense for 9 innings. That's what we're looking for out of that position.
All right, let's focus on the opening series. In Port Charlotte, Florida, it is the Snowbird Baseball Classic. And as you mentioned, up first is Indiana State. That will be on Friday. And that's a team that's been in the postseason in 2021 and in 2019. Then a doubleheader on Saturday against Marshall, and then Ohio State on Monday. Just maybe overall thoughts on this tournament in general, and then first up, Indiana State.
Yeah, it's the first time we've been down there. Ohio State runs the tournament. And my first thought is we're playing 27 innings in 24 hours, getting off the plane at like 9 o'clock and then playing a bunch of games. But obviously this time of year, guys they're rested and ready to go. But, Indiana State's a really good team. I mean, they're going to be a lot like Texas State was last year as far as being older and more mature. But they're going to be more talented. They did go to a regional. They got most of their guys back. So it's going to be a good challenge for us. I mean, it's a team that we should be able to match up with really well. I mean, I would expect our team to be a regional-type team. So that should be a really good game for us. And then we play Marshall twice. In baseball, it's like you never know. It's a team that we should beat. But baseball's weird, man. You get a pitcher up there who has good stuff that day, or you're lining out to people. And so we need to play 2 solid games, and hopefully we'll come away with 2 wins. And then obviously Ohio State, who won the Big Ten tournament last year and has a lot of their players back. And I'm excited to see what Ryan Brady's going to do with those guys. Ryan's been on a mission, then came home during COVID and left and came back. And so he did a great job just following through with his mission, and now he's back and ready to go.
I'm assuming you're probably like me. You've been checking to see what the weather is supposed to be like in Florida. 80 degrees. So I think that's going to be welcomed. You packing a lot of shorts for this trip?
I wish I could go to the beach a little bit, but I don't think so. The only shorts I'm packing are the ones I wear under my baseball pants.
No morning run on the beach to kind of get ready to go?
Yeah, I'm sure I'll figure out some time.
Well, Coach, appreciate you stopping by. Really looking forward to this. And just a reminder, all of the games can be heard on the radio, BYU Radio 107.9 FM, and or the app, as well as BYUCougars.com/live radio. So lots of ways for you to be able to listen to the games. Myself, Tuckett Slade, will have the call for you beginning on Friday against Indiana State. Should be fun. For all the details on times and where you can listen, make sure you go to BYUCougars.com and go to the baseball page and check out the schedule. Coach, let's go. I'm ready for some baseball.
Let's do it. Yep.
Let's do it. Thanks.
Go Cougs.
Go Cougs indeed. Tomorrow, 12:30 Eastern against Indiana State, as Shep mentioned, coming up with the baseball season. Exciting.
Our elite voice of the day is straight ahead this morning.
And a rise and shout out to thousands gathered in the Marriott Center, elementary school kids. Let's go. This is BYU Sports Nation. LMU and BYU top of the hour. The kids have arrived.
Oh, they are ready to scream.
This is where we dominate. Our playground, place of business. This is our promised land, where we seek to find ourselves. And we're here to make sure the spaces our best prove themselves on appear how they should. Intermountain Healthcare, official medical provider for BYU Athletics.
Family, if you're looking for something new to watch, stop scrolling and start streaming. BYU TV has a ton of great options to binge together. From bold adventure to family drama and even a little fun, there's something for everyone. Binge entire series, experience all the feels, immerse in nonstop intrigue, and treat yourself to unexpected turns. Think you know BYU TV? We're just getting started.
Right there. Here, take it in. What's up, buddy? How's it going? That was so needed.
This portion of BYU Sports Nation is presented by Mountain America, the official credit union of BYU Athletics.
BYU Sports Nation is always available on demand via the free BYU TV and BYU Radio apps. And don't forget to download the podcast. Just Google BYU Sports Nation podcast, subscribe, rate, and review. Our question of the day is this. Is it March Madness or bust for the men's basketball team? At Raider Bromwell on Twitter. March Madness for sure, or for sure. BYU has found their rhythm from beyond the arc and will beat St. Mary's on Saturday. Now, BYU can have any semblance of what it was Saturday offensively, then yeah. But you know who's number 14 in defensive rating in the country? St. Mary's. That's one of the best defensive teams BYU will play all year. So I'm not sure you can quite summon that response, right? At Mr. Knox on Instagram. Not expecting much. This year has been rough with injuries. Gotta love the fight, though. That was our elite voice of the day, presented by Sundance Mountain Resort. I don't know why that was the elite one. We probably could have done better, to be honest. Not expecting much. That's the elite one.
It's pre-Friday.
This is BYU Sports Nation. We're sometimes the homers. You know what I'm saying? Today's rise and shout out. Oh, we're getting a fresh elite voice of the day. I don't know who it's from though. Put that in there, please. Rob N on Twitter. Yes, this is more like it. BYU is the type of program where making the tourneys the goal, especially heading into the Big 12. No expectations. Anything else would be disappointing. Well, it sounds like you have expectations, Rob. If you want to get in, yeah, we hope for the best here. You know, but given what's happened this year,
it's what
it might be too tough to ask.
It's what fans do. We expect stuff.
Sure.
Then we're pleasantly surprised or crushed.
Yeah.
Even though we expected it, you know.
Yeah. If BYU was terrible at sports, I don't think we have a daily show to talk about all the terribleness, right? Yours good. Today's Rise and Shoutouts are presented by Mountain America, the official credit union of BYU Athletics.
How about a shout out to Gail Halverson, the Candy Bomber, former Dean of Student Life at BYU for 10 years as part of his amazing life. Passed away last night here in Utah Valley at 101. And may he rest in peace. He made a giant difference in his life.
Absolutely.
And for so many people.
If you don't know who we're talking about, just Google the Candy Bomber.
Yeah.
It's incredible. And then, of course, to all the kids who you will see for the next 2 hours coming up here on BYU TV at Kids Day. Oh, they're in the house. They're here from school. We're told 2nd through 5th grade. They brought the signs. They brought the energy.
I have a complaint to Mr. Buchanan of Sear Park Elementary School back in the day. We never got to come to basketball games in the middle of a school day.
You went to Sear Park Elementary?
Yeah.
I did for 3 months, too, in 4th grade.
It's a special place.
Yes, it is.
Of course, they knocked it down and rebuilt some new school.
Right by the park.
Changed the name.
Exactly.
Basketball's coming up here in just a couple of minutes. Cougars ranked 20th in the country. They are worth your attention. We got 2 hours of them straight ahead.
Absolutely. Sorry to Dennis Pitta. For Spencer, Jason, and Dave, I'm Jarom. Shout out to Apana Nakayama, LMU, and BYU Women's Hoops coming up next.